Hey guys, my name is Rachel and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. So before I get into today's video, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for your patience last week. I had so many issues with audio and editing and my program shutting out on me and all these different things. It was very frustrating. So I just ended up having to throw out the video and record a new one. So that video will be coming out soon when I have time to go ahead and remake it. It's frustrating, but you guys are just so awesome and understanding, and I truly appreciate that. But either way, with that being said, in today's video, we are going to be discussing yet another missing persons case that just simply has not gotten the coverage that it needs, and there's just not a lot of information. There are people out there who know exactly what happened but just will not speak up. This case is relatively recent, yet it's almost like no one's really putting in any effort into her case besides her family. There's not a lot of information in this case, like I said, so this video will not be super long, but I still think that it's incredibly important to get her story out there and get her name out there to hopefully bring some much needed momentum back into this case. So with that being said, today we are going to be talking about the disappearance of Desirea Ferris. Desirea Ferris was born February 11th, 1999. She lived in Liberty, Missouri with her mother Tammy and her stepfather. Now, when Desirea was little, her parents did get a divorce, but she spent a lot of time with both parents, but still she was mainly raised by her mother. And by all accounts, she was a great child with a bright future, but as she reached her teen years, as a lot of younger girls do, she fell in with the wrong crowd. Desirea was extremely close with her older sister Samantha, and the two of them spent a lot of time together and both just hung out with kind of not the best people. Now, on May 1st, 2017, Desirea and her sister went out early that afternoon to hang out with two older men who they had recently met and were kind of just becoming friends with. Now, we don't know exactly what they all did together, but what we do know is that in the evening, around 5 p.m., Samantha wanted to go home, but Desirea wanted to stay out. So the men dropped Samantha off about a block away from the home, and she walked home from there. Now, I'm guessing the reason that they dropped her off a block away from her home rather than just driving up to her driveway and dropping her off there, it's probably because, the girls didn't want their parents knowing who they were hanging out with. I mean, these were older men who were hanging out with teenagers, so obviously the girls wouldn't want their parents finding out. But either way, Samantha did return home safely that evening, but Desirea would never be seen again. Now, on May 2nd, when Desiree's mother realized that she wasn't home, she was a little bit worried, but she kind of just thought that the girls were planning her a surprise party for her birthday. I mean, they had bought her a card and she saw cake ingredients, so that was her thought. She went to work that day, but when she got home from work around 5 p.m. that evening, Patty realized that Desirea still was not home. And as the hours passed, she grew increasingly concerned, and after waking up in the middle of the night only to realize that Desirea still wasn't home, she decided to file a police report. Of course, police started their searches and trying to figure out where she could be. And that is when Patty found out that Desirea was hanging out with these two older, extremely sketchy men. This is also when they learned the very alarming reputations of these men. They were known for being involved in all sorts of different illegal activities and were just not people that her young daughter should have been involved with. Now, after doing their searches and talking to different people, reports say that Desirea and her sister were driving with a man named Robert Keegan in a Ford F-150 in the afternoon of May 1st. From there, apparently, Keegan had dropped the two off at a McDonald's off Van Burnt Boulevard in Kansas City around 5 p.m. After that, another man named Mark Arzola picked them up and drove them to the McDonald's off of South 291 Highway in Liberty, which is about a 20 to 25 minute drive. Once there, Samantha got out of the car and left, but Desirea stayed with him. I'm assuming this is where he dropped Samantha off so that she could walk home, because that's a very specific location, 20-25 minute drive. It's, not somewhere they would just end up. So again, I'm assuming that that's where he dropped Samantha off so that she could walk home. Now, when questioned, Arzola told investigators that after him and Desiree left the McDonald's, he took Desiree to a house at 811 Highland in South Kansas City. He said that they were there until 1:30 a.m. the morning of May 2nd, and that's when Desiree left. He claimed that she hopped into a white truck with an unknown driver, and that was the last time that he saw her. Now, according to phone records, we also know that around 1 a.m. that morning, Desiree texted her sister, "I am coming home." But as we know, she never actually did end up showing up back home. What investigators also found on her phone were 23 text messages between Desiree's phone and Keegan's phone between 10:20 p.m. and 10:58 p.m. Then there's no more text messages after this. This led investigators to believe that Keegan may have picked Desiree back up at this point. Then at 2:06 a.m., Desiree made a call to some phone number, and I'm not exactly sure who she was calling or what this phone number was. I don't know if they're not releasing this information or if they just don't know, but that's just what it showed. And then her last activity on her Facebook was at 3 a.m. Then after this, the very last location that Desiree's phone pinged at was this abandoned house in the Marble Heights area in South Kansas at 4:11 a.m. on May 2nd. After this, there were absolutely no more text messages, no more phone calls, social media posts. Nothing. The place her phone last pinged was very concerning because this house was very well known for criminal activity. After this, we really don't have a ton of more information. Police have not released a ton of information, and her family's kind of at the point where they feel like no one's really putting in that much effort to find her. Now, as of right now, both men that she was last seen with are currently in prison, but for completely unrelated things. Only 10 days after Desiree went missing, Arzola was taken into prison for violating his parole, for possession, and for resisting arrest. Keegan is also in prison for conspiracy to distribute and felony possession of a firearm. However, police have not named them as suspects, and in fact, they haven't really named anyone as suspects in this case. But either way, that does kind of show the kind of people that Desiree was involved with. People with extensive criminal histories who aren't afraid to break the law. Authorities and the family genuinely believe that people in federal prison, obviously in my opinion referring to these two men, know exactly what happened to Desiree and just are not speaking up. Her family strongly believes that unfortunately Desiree probably is not alive any longer. It's absolutely frustrating that the family basically knows what happened to their daughter, but these people just refuse to speak up. These are monsters who clearly don't care about anyone but themselves and who just have a complete disregard for doing what's right. This is where I would normally go into a theories section, but it's pretty obvious who knows what happened to Desiree in my opinion. I don't think that there's really any possibility of her running off on her own, especially since we know that she texted her sister that she's on her way home. I don't think there's any reason that she would text her sister that she's coming home if she really was just planning on going off. I don't think that she would, text her this so that her sister was waiting up for her. That just doesn't seem very likely to me. I also don't think it's very likely, unfortunately, that Desiree is alive out there because both of these men were arrested, and I just feel like if they were holding her somewhere, that with them being gone, she would have escaped or been found, or, of course, unless someone else is involved, that's very possible. If there is the possibility of someone else being involved that we just don't know about, it is possible that she is being held somewhere, but I just don't think that that's a very likely scenario, again, especially because they are in jail. So if you're in jail, there's really no reason to hold someone somewhere or have someone else do that. It just doesn't really make sense to me, and I don't think it's very likely. I do think that the most likely scenario is that there's foul play involved and that one or both of these men is directly responsible. There is just too much evidence pointing towards it. I don't know if I believe Arzola's story that she just got into some random truck with someone who he didn't know. That's a very convenient story to say that she just took off with someone, you have no idea who it was, you don't know who was driving the car, and you have no idea where she went. And so the last person that could have been seen with her, that police know was seen with her, it's very convenient that she just hopped in the car with some random person. I am very frustrated with the lack of information here, and I'm just hoping that the reason that there's no information is because police are working on something behind the scenes and just aren't willing to release any of that information. And my heart absolutely goes out to her family, who are just searching for answers and just want their daughter to come home. Desiree was described as being a white female, 5'1", 95 pounds, so absolutely tiny, with brown hair and brown eyes. She has a birthmark on her abdomen and a 1.5-inch scar on her left forearm. She was last seen wearing a white or cream colored crop top, a fuzzy pink jacket and sweatpants, carrying a tan purse. If you have absolutely any information whatsoever, no matter how big or small you might think the information is, I urge you to contact the Liberty Police Department at 816-439-4701, and this number will be in the description box below. So like I said, there just is not a lot of information in this case, and that's pretty much all I have. So now I just want to know what you guys think. Do you think that these men are responsible, or do you think that we are just looking in the complete wrong direction? Do you think that there's a chance of her being alive out there somewhere? Please let me know in the comments below. So that is all I have for today's video. I know this is a very short video, like I said, but there just simply is not a lot of information for me to really dig deep and look into different theories. In my opinion, all of the evidence that we do have, which admittedly is not a lot, does point to these two men, but at the same time, I wonder why the police haven't named them as suspects. Do they know more that we just don't know? Or is there really just such a lack in evidence that there's not enough to name them as suspects? I don't know. But either way, like I said, that's all I have for today's video. If you did like this video, please make sure to leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I put out new true crime and mystery videos every single week. Also, do not forget to follow my Twitter and Instagram. Both will be linked in the description box below. If you have absolutely any case suggestions, please feel free to send them to my email at RachelShannonCases@gmail.com. I read every single case suggestion that I receive, and all of the videos that I've been making have been suggestions from you guys. If I don't reply to the email, don't assume that I haven't read your suggestions, because I promise you, if you've sent it over, I've read it. I know some people think that if I don't reply, then I didn't read it, but I promise you that I have. But with that, I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.